Your pain is either going to make you or break you. And in a world where most individuals are suffering in silence, our goal is to not be like them. So you have to understand that if you want to attain a certain reality to experience, then you have to become a certain individual. If you want to have certain things, then you need to be a certain person. You have to understand your reality is 100% a reflection of you. So if your reality isn't what it could be, it's because there's something lacking within you. You have to understand that if you're a low quality individual, you're going to be in suffering in a low quality life. And if you're a high quality individual, then you'll irrefutably be enjoying and experiencing and computing and sequencing within a enjoyable life. Now, understand that most people can't even realize their own flaws because they're too arrogant to look at themselves and reflect. Now, you can either reflect on self, so reflect, self-reflection equals inner perfection. Then when you start to external reflecting equals external insurrection. So try to compute within your minute brain in your insufferable mind that is so terribly limited due to your own inadequacies, and try to understand that the only limit is yourself, and the only difference between you and the higher individuals of society is the work they put in and the work you don't. It's about what they know and what you don't. So you have to understand that before you can have certain things, you need to become a certain person. And you do that by developing yourself. Now, if you're skinny as shit, if you're skinny as fuck, if you're a victim, then you need to go to the gym. If you're fat, sloppy, and out of shape, then you 100% need to go to the gym because you have excessive amounts of energy. Literally, that's what visceral fat is. If you aren't on the program actively developing yourself, getting fit, getting intelligent, getting competent, getting regimented and disciplined, you have to understand your body is a reflection of your mind. And if you're sloppy, out of shape, if you can't even do a push-up, then it's because your mind is sloppy, out of shape, and your mind is ensuring that you can't do a push-up. So get on the program and we'll get you fit, we'll get you regimented, and we'll assign you habits that you can do and conquer daily to ensure that you aren't one of these low-quality individuals. Now, you have to understand that your standards standardize your reality. So you are a reflection of your standards, and if you have low standards, you're a low-quality individual. So you need to have high standards, and you need to hold yourself accountable to them, because the intensity of your accountability is going to reflect the standards that you account for, thus modulating you and sequencing you to a reality where those standards would apply as a daily set of standards. And if you have high standards, that means you will modulate into a reality and paradigm shift to a reality that reflects high standards. So when you say you're going to do the one thing and you don't, that's low standards, and that's some bitch shit. So you should probably look in the mirror and understand that your word actually has to hold weight as a man, and you have to actually act upon with action instead of distraction. You need to act upon what you're going to say, and every time you don't, render yourself inferior because you failed yourself. And it's not an authority thing, it's a conduit thing. It's a universal conduction. How do you conduct yourself? How is your existential conduit? Are you moving within existence as a low quality individual that can't even say and act upon what he says? Well, that shit's dead. That shit's minute. That shit's irrefutably despicable and dispensable, and your character is revealed through that. So we don't even want to be around you if you're reflecting low inadequacy, low competence, and a low degree of intelligence to not reflect the higher quality of you into existence. Now you have to understand that the only thing that is separating you from what you want to attain in life is the work you're not putting in and the knowledge you don't know. And you have to start your process of development. If you never start, then how can you compound over time and create a ripple effect, thus modulating you into the paradigm shift? You have to actively be corresponding to higher actions to modulate yourself into a higher reality and sequence yourself into a higher set of standards, which is going to standardize the reality that you want to live. Now, unless you're a self-debilitating, limiting primate, you can understand that there is no difference between the man next to you, and thus you can correspond to all the finer things in life. The reason people don't correspond to them is because they know, or well, they feel as if they don't deserve them. So as a worthless individual that you actively prove yourself that you are when you don't act upon higher standards, when you don't regulate and modulate yourself to a certain set of degrees of set standards that you never deviate from, non-negotiable, and you always hold your word to yourself and act upon it. You see, people, they fail themselves. And when you call them a failure, they have a way to feel about it, but they don't feel a way when they fail themselves. So matter of fact, we gonna throw it in their face even more. And matter of fact, if you old as fuck and you got mad time on earth, just remember that you even more of a failure, because you could have been doing some shit to better the reality on earth, to be mastering all domains and just being an absolute massive fucking W. We got people doing all eventing shit, and then you're gonna cap yourself to a job. You're not even the source of your own reality. There's people out here that are the source of their own reality. If your source is anything other than you, no wonder you're so depleted and excreted in your fucking sequencing of life. You need to understand that you are the source emanation. And if you are not emanating your source, then you're going to be repulsive. You're going to be you're going to have low intellect. You're going to be a low competent, insufferable, sloppy, out of shape, piece of shit individual. So don't be one of those. Actually start developing yourself, because you only live once. And to create a hell for you to suffer in and then believe that you have no escape is the worst way to go out. And there's people going out that way. So that's why I'm making sure that you hear the message, so you could wake the fuck up and actually create your reality. In a world where people don't create their reality, they just drift where circumstance take them. You need to circumnavigate your circumstance and overcome it. You need to overcome perplexities by developing your mind to a certain level of complexity to ensure that you don't remain and ingrain as that low-level individual. It's not about being the best. It's about not being the worst. If you're not ascending, you're descending. If you're not growing, you are dying. And if you are not constantly accruing value, if you are not appreciating in value, then you are substantially decreasing in deappreciating in value. So you have to understand that in the motion of existence, in life, it's all about value. If you have no value, then you're worth less. And if you don't do anything about it, then you're useless, because you have to actually use the vessel that you incarnated in to actually attain certain goals and respond to responsibilities with abilities and efficiency. And until you can do that, you will remain that low-level piece of shit, and you will die that shit. And some of us, we can't live with that burden. So we're going to pick up the cross. We're going to keep it moving, push up instead of down, and all these clowns move around like faggots. Don't be one of them. Program, community, in the description. See you there. Peace.